What if I told you that you might be able to write off the full cost of a vehicle through your business in 2026? This is legitimately, legally, and without huge risk. In this video, I'll walk you through how business owners can structure a vehicle purchase, what qualifies, what the rules are in 2026, and how to maximize your deduction. Ready? All right, let's get into it. So the first thing I want to talk about when we're talking about automobile deduction is that every business owner, regardless of the type of business, the industry you're in, every business owner should have some sort of automobile deduction. And this can sometimes come as a surprise. You might say, well, Mike, I work from home. I never leave home for my business. Believe me, and we'll talk through this, there are ways that every business owner should have some automobile deductions. Now, some are gonna have a lot and some are gonna have a little, but very rarely would a business owner have none. I found no opportunities when talking to business owners where you would have none. Now, when we talk about taking a deduction for automobile, there's kind of two methods that we look at. The first one is the mileage method, and then the second one's the actual method. And the actual method is where we'll be able to accelerate and get that big deduction all in year one. But I want to break these down so you know the difference between them. The mileage method, this method, quick and easy. You track your business miles, how many miles are driven specifically for business, and then you multiply that by the IRS mileage rate. It's great for inexpensive vehicles with heavy business use. That's why we love the mileage method. Then we have on the other side, the actual method. This method's more detailed, but potentially bigger savings, especially potentially huge year one deductions. With the actual method, you deduct the business share of fuel, insurance, repairs, and depreciation. And depreciation is that big number that can get you a big deduction in year one that we're going to talk about. But you take all the business use, you take all those expenses, you multiply it by the business use. How much of that percentage is related to business? This is ideal for newer or heavier type vehicles. And when we talk about heavier, we're talking about GVWR. So let's look at 2026 and what's changed. With the one big beautiful bill that passed in 2025, we now have bonus depreciation at 100%. This can be super powerful for different areas, especially a vehicle in your business. Now, that 100% bonus depreciation, the availability of it is going to be limited by your vehicle's GVWR, or gross vehicle weight rating, and we're going to talk about what that might look like. But bonus depreciation is back at 100%, and this is a beautiful thing. Now, this might be relevant to you, it might not, depending on the vehicle type, and we'll get through that. Also, Section 179 expensing, the limit for Section 179 expensing, which allows you as well to get big deductions in year one, that limit has been raised, which can also be a good thing. Now, I want to talk about some qualifications. What are the qualifications for a business vehicle, or a vehicle that you have to be considered business or have some business use? And obviously, first, it's got to be used for business. So you need to make sure that you're tracking and making sure that you have a business vehicle that is used for business. And what are those business purposes of that vehicle? Sometimes the vehicle is 100% business use and it's part of the day-to-day job. Think if you're an electrician or a plumber and you have your van with all your tools and equipment in it. Of course, it's a 100% business use vehicle. Other people, they might be consultants and maybe they have a vehicle on their own that they're driving to some work sites, different things, but it's not every single day. That's also a possibility. So what we want to do is we want to be tracking the percentage of business use. We want to be having a mileage log that's tracking to say, okay, here's personal use and here's business use. And what percentage of that vehicle use is business use? And that's going to help determine what our deduction is going to be. You also want to have your entity own or lease that vehicle. Now, you can also own it personally. You would just need to use an accountable plan to get a reimbursement for those expenses that you paid for personally if you own it personally. Generally, if it's a 100% business vehicle, we say put it in the business. If it's business and personal mix, you can own it personally, but use an accountable plan to reimburse yourself for the business use. That makes it a business deduction in tax-free income to you. Now, real quick, this might be the most valuable free download that you'll see all year. The Tax Savings Starter Kit. You get our mega list of deductions, you'll get real stories of how folks have saved thousands, and you'll get a bonus discovery call with our team at TaxSelm. There's no cost, there's no strings. Just go to taxsavingspodcast.com/starter kit. Okay, so when we talked about deducting the vehicle all in year one, especially when we were talking about depreciation and the actual method, we talked about this thing called GVWR, your gross vehicle weight rating. And that GVWR, every vehicle has one. It's a factory type item, and it's either going to be above 6,000 pounds or under 6,000 pounds. And that 6,000 pounds is important because if your GVWR is less than 6,000 pounds, the max first year depreciation that you can take. So this would be no matter the vehicle. The max first year depreciation you can take is $20,500. Now those are 2025 numbers, but $20,500. So that means if you bought a vehicle for $100,000, but your GVWR is less than 6,000 pounds, the max you can take, $20,500. Again, that's based on 2025 numbers. Now, if you have a GVWR of more than 6,000 pounds, this is where the floodgates open. This is where there's opportunity, because now you qualify for Section 179 expensing. Now you qualify for 100% bonus depreciation, and that means that you can potentially get a full write-off in year one for that vehicle. So let's say you bought that $100,000 vehicle. If its GVWR is over 6,000 pounds, you potentially get a full $100,000 deduction in year one using bonus depreciation or Section 179 expensing. So this can make SUVs, trucks, and heavy vehicles a super powerful tax strategy for business use, especially if you're using some leverage. So you might bought a $100,000 vehicle, you put $20,000 down. So you're $20,000 out of a pocket, but you're getting a $100,000 deduction, potentially. You're getting a $100,000 deduction with only $20,000 out of pocket. Now, of course, you're still gonna need to pay that loan back, and you're gonna have what we call some phantom income down the road from paying that loan back, but this can be super powerful. So let's talk about what counts as business miles, because this is important. We wanna know what counts as business miles and where's our opportunity to increase this, to get more business miles. So trips from one office location to another office location, that's a business trip. So if you're going from an office here to another office, or a client to another client, that's business miles. If you're driving to client meetings, if you're driving to conferences, or you're driving to networking events, that's business mileage. If you're doing service calls or deliveries or on-site jobs, of course, that's gonna be business mileage. And so think of things like where it's 100% business use vehicle. If you're doing runs to a post office, supply stores, or even the bank for business purposes, that can be business miles. If you're going to the airport because you have a business trip that you're traveling for, that trip to the airport, that's business miles. If the purpose of the trip, essentially we're saying, if the purpose of the trip is to earn income or support your business operation, it generally qualifies as business miles. So let's flip the switch. And let's say what doesn't count as business mileage. Basically kind of three main categories: commuting, personal errands, and vacations. Now, commuting, personal errands, and vacations. And what is commuting? Commuting is going from your home to an office. That isn't considered a commute. That would not be deductible. But, and here's a big but, if you have a home office that qualifies as a home office, trips from your home to another office may be able to count as deductible business mileage, because now, let's say you start your day and end your day in your home office. So now your commute is really from your bedroom to your home office. You start your day in your home office, you answer emails, you go through some administrative type work, then you travel to another office. Maybe you're a dentist and you're doing dental work at that other office. If you start your day at your home office, you go to another office, business mileage. If you do a commute, doesn't count as business mileage. So we want to think about starting our day at our home office, then going to office, coming back and ending our day at our home office, or we're doing some more administrative type work in our home office. Now we're starting to create more opportunity for business miles, which is going to increase our automotive deduction, which is going to increase our percentage of business use, which can make some really big impacts from a tax perspective. So what are the steps you need to take? First, you need to pick your method. Are you doing mileage versus actual? Are you doing the mileage of expense method, or are you doing the actual expense method? Run both of them to compare and find out which one's going to give you the best benefit. And also think about future years too and what that might look like. Track everything. Track miles, track receipts, have dates on everything, have business purpose on everything, have a mileage log that tracks and goes through everything on how you're taking these deductions. Step number 3 is understanding depreciation. What's depreciation going to come at? What's your GVWR? Are you over 6,000 pounds or under 6,000 pounds? And how is that going to work with depreciation, especially if you go the actual expense method? Then number 4 is keep digital receipts of everything. You know, we always say when you have a receipt, when you have a mileage log, whatever it might be, take a picture of it, save it digitally if you need it. That's not something you have to send into the IRS, but if they come asking for it, you want to be able to easily provide that for them. And then finally, the final step to all this is claim the deduction. Whether you're operating as a sole proprietorship, a single member LLC, a partnership, an S corporation, whatever it is, claim the deduction properly. And remember, if you're operating as an S corporation and this is a vehicle that is in your personal name that has business and personal mix, make sure you're using an accountable plan and have that accountable plan properly set up to make that reimbursement from the business to you personally for the business use of that personal vehicle. So you now know the playbook for writing off a vehicle in 2026 through your business. You know the structure, the rules, the steps. If this video delivered value, smash that like button, comment what kind of vehicle you're thinking about, and subscribe for more tax-savvy business strategies. And if you want help from our team of tax professionals implementing this, along with so many other strategies, visit us at TaxElm. That's TaxElm.com, or click the link in the description for a free discovery call. We are helping small business owners like you legally lower your tax bill every single day. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.